For the latest discussion, joining us in Tokyo, but from Singapore, Lim Tai Wei, professor of Soka University. In Beijing, Qingrun, professor from the School of Asian Studies from Beijing Foreign Studies University. Welcome to our discussion. Mr. Song, we are seeing the China-ASEAN Free Trade Agreement has already been updated for several times. How do you, in retrospect, look at the significance of this cooperation and its possible update in the near future? Professor Song.
We know that in the past about 14 or 15 years, China-ASEAN FTA has achieved a lot. In October last year, China-ASEAN announced the completion of negotiations of CAFTA 3.0, an upgraded framework covering digital and green economies, supply chain connectivity, customs procedures, trade facilitation, and technological cooperation. Seeing that the two sides have agreed to sign the agreement by this year, the upgrading of CAFTA into an up-to-date, inclusive, and comprehensive framework that will foster deeper regional integration and boost growth across the market of more than 2 billion people in this region.
Yes.
I mean, the China-ASEAN is set to create substantial economies of scale and spillover effects to this region, further facilitating the ASEAN-APEC economic integration.
Now China and ASEAN are each other's biggest trading partners. Professor Lim, what do you think has this track record mean for both sides, and what would be its inspiration that can be shared by others as well?
Both economies have matured. ASEAN has ambitions for the smart cities network in which China's technologies can play a part. ASEAN also has ambitions for intra-regional regionalism, and therefore this 3.0's focus on supply chain infrastructure, green economy will really help ASEAN achieve its ambitions. And when ASEAN achieves its economic growth, it can eventually become a consumer market for Chinese products as well. So this is a win-win situation where both economies have matured. And I'd like to also end off with the fact that ASEAN has become China's largest trading partner. And so this is definitely something that is complementary between China and ASEAN in the free trade sector.
Having said that, though, the reality we're seeing today is much more fragmented. We've been hearing threats from certain economies in the world that is going to extend tariffs and high tariffs on different economies. We are also seeing fragmentation of the rules-based global trading system. And at the same time, geopolitically, things are ever more complicated than 20 or 30 years ago. So now, how do you think the latest cooperation, what will be the nature of it? And how is it going to be balanced with other priorities that both sides have? Professor Lim.
ASEAN actually hopes to be the hub that can pull all the major powers and economies together and try to work out differences between them. At the same time, it has ambitions to have greater intra-regional trading. And so this greater intra-regional trading can eventually become a buffer against external shocks, but at the same time, it can also encourage inter-regional trading with China. China being a huge economy, second largest in the world, largest if you count it by purchasing power parity, can be a very important block in which there is inter-regional trading between ASEAN and China. So there are many developments that can buffer against global shocks that are coming in due to supply chain disruption or reorientation. And certainly ASEAN hopes to play the role of hub and spokes model so that conflicts and tensions between trading partners can be resolved, mediated, or at least not let it become worse. So there are many functions, multiple functions that the ASEAN can help out.
There are so many economies within ASEAN, and some of them have different priorities from others. For example, in the trade negotiations. Mr. Lim, are you confident about ASEAN's efficiency of coming up with the right ways to implement the potential?
Within ASEAN organization, there are 10 countries with different relationship with each superpower, medium-sized power, as well as regional powers. Therefore, there is a hope, and also through history, the track record has shown that it is able to plug in all these regional power, great powers, superpowers together in a platform that is neutral, given that each ASEAN country has different affiliations with each great power, that it is able to act as a hub and spokes model to pull all these countries together to resolve, mediate, or mitigate issues. And the track record has shown that it is able to do that.
What if ASEAN economies were also exerted with higher tariffs themselves?
The ASEAN of today is somewhat different from the ASEAN of yesterday. As it moves up the value chain, the kind of goods that it trades, the kind of goods that it produces and manufacture is also different. On top of that, service sector in ASEAN, in terms of e-commerce and tourism, are also booming. So I think all great powers, regardless of whether it's US, China, or other great powers, would like to tap into this growing market, coupled with its young, dynamic, and growing population, in order to tap into one of the two so-called growth engines of the world, especially to gain benefits from demographic dividends.
Mr. Song, we know China has been very active in aligning the countries and economies coming from what they call the global south. How much do you see this cooperation between China and ASEAN will be updated in that context? Is it going to be in competition against the other mechanisms that are working on the trade issue among the global south?
Both China and ASEAN make joint efforts to push forward the larger regional economic cooperation. For example, both China and ASEAN are making cooperation in other regional economic or other regional mechanisms. For example, both China and some ASEAN member countries are making economic cooperation in the BRICS and also in other regional cooperation mechanisms. Both China and ASEAN's aim is that to make the different regions, regional economic cooperation to be larger and broader to boost the regional and also the global economic development.
Song Qingrun, Lim Tai Wei, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Appreciate it.